So I've been sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to start this video, and I cannot figure it out for the life of me, so I'm just going to jump right in because it has been way too long. Hey guys, so it has been a while. I mean, it's been probably over a year since I posted my last video. The last video that I posted on this channel was my Hispanic Heritage Month TBR from last year. And then I kind of just disappeared after that. I know that I haven't been posting. It's been obviously a crazy year for a lot of us out there, and it's just been super overwhelming. I mean, at the end of last year, things started happening. I started to get busy with family and the holidays and, you know, trying to get my writing done and transitioning into my new job as well. And it was just a lot to kind of sit here and edit and make videos and do all of the YouTube things that I was used to doing before. And then on top of that, my computer ended up dying, so the one computer that I would use to edit everything wasn't working anymore, and having to kind of relearn a new program and relearn a new way of editing was just too much for me. It was too overwhelming for me at the time, so I just kind of like put things on the back burner. But recently, I don't know. I mean, I've been thinking for a while that I wanted to kind of start making videos again and start interacting with you guys again. I kind of completely even stopped watching BookTube videos altogether for a while now. I was just watching other things on YouTube. I think most of it was due to the fact that a lot of the people that I interacted with, that I was close with on YouTube, most of them have stopped making videos. So I just felt, for some reason, I just felt a little bit alone on this platform, to be honest. I mean, not really having other people to interact with, or as many people as I used to interact with being on this platform. It just kind of like I lost my motivation, I lost my focus, and I was just making videos to make videos, not really happy with what I was putting out there, and honestly just not happy in general with so many things. I mean, I ended up deleting my Twitter that was connected with my YouTube handle and everything, and I don't know, for some reason I felt weird continuing on with something that I wasn't enjoying. But recently, for some reason, I've been thinking that I wanted to kind of sit down again and start recording again. This is the second time that I'm sitting down to try and record this video. I don't know, every time I sit here I feel like I just keep babbling on and on, which is mostly what I'm doing now. But I just want to kind of to sit down, update you guys on anything before I kind of jump in and start doing regular videos and regular content. I felt like I needed to kind of explain myself as to why I've been gone for so long, what's been going on with my life, before I kind of start doing, you know, wrap-up videos and TBR videos and that kind of thing. The main thing that's been kind of going on in my life here has been me and my wife starting our adoption process. Now, my wife and I decided at the beginning of the year that we were going to finally decide to adopt. It's been something that's been on our minds and in our hearts for years now, and we just never kind of started the process. And this year in 2020, we decided to finally decide to start the process of adoption. We recently completed our 10-week kind of training course that they make you go through, and most of our home study is completed right now, which last-minute paperwork with our social worker to we can finally sign off on our home study and start inquiring on children. We are adopting from the foster care system, so we are hoping for a child between the ages of 3 and 8. That's our kind of dream, is to kind of become a family. My wife and I have been married for about 8.5 years now with no kids. So yeah, we've always had in mind that we would love to adopt at some point, and we feel that the fact that we haven't been able to have kids this long is because we really need to adopt. So we've finally decided to take the plunge and go ahead with it. Everything has been moving fairly quickly for kind of how the world has been moving throughout 2020. It's probably going to take another year or so before we actually have a child in our home, but we're just very, very excited so far with the entire process and how everything is going. So that has been my kind of main focus and the main thing going on in 2020 that has kind of pushed me away from YouTube and from sitting here and doing that, on top of me kind of dedicating more time to getting healthy and exercising and losing weight and eating healthier. I've been focusing a lot of my time in 2020 there. And also my writing. I finished a first draft of another book that I was working on sometime in the summer, and I'm currently working on my first round of edits before I start kind of finding beta readers and critique partners to kind of begin that process as well. So I'm just super excited of where my writing process is going, where this story is going, because this is a different story than the one I had written a couple of years ago. And I'm just really excited about this project, and that's one of the main things that I've been working on as well. Even though it's moving slowly, I'm still kind of consistently picking away at these edits, and I'm just excited to kind of like sit here and talk about books again, because I've still been reading a lot of books. I've still been interacting and posting things on Instagram and on Goodreads as far as reviews and things go, just not really doing it here on YouTube. But I just wanted to get back into it again because it's something that I really enjoyed. I'm hoping that I can start, posting at least 2 or 3 videos consistently a week now. Because I just have, as you can tell, a new space now in the house that I'm kind of able to have more privacy as I sit here and record these videos for you guys. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to as well, because this is a booktube channel, share some of my favorite books as well that I've been reading in 2020 or that I've read so far in 2020, and just very quickly give you guys an overview on some of my favorite ones, because I felt like this wouldn't be a booktube video without sharing some kind of book related content. The first book on my favorites list of 2020 so far has been Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This follows our main character Lydia, who at the very beginning of this novel, she is dead. She has committed suicide, and her family is now trying to kind of find out why she did what she did. It's kind of dual timeline, so it's the story of Lydia before her death, and then the story of her family and everything after her death, kind of dealing with the whole process of grieving her passing and trying to find out why she did what she did. I absolutely adored this novel. Celeste Ng also wrote Little Fires Everywhere, which is a Hulu show that a lot of people have been talking about and saying it's amazing. I really want to read that novel and start that show. But Everything I Never Told You is her first novel, and I absolutely adored it. So if Little Fires Everywhere is anything like this first book of hers, then I am going to absolutely love that one as well. The next book in my favorites is The Last Train to Key West by Chanel Cleeton. This is a companion novel in kind of her, I don't even know what it's called, Cuba series, I guess. It follows this one Cuban family and their lives as, different generations. This book takes place in 1935 while there is one of the largest hurricanes that had ever hit Florida, and it follows 3 different perspectives, 3 different women. One of them who's running away from an abusive marriage, one of them who just became a brand new bride and is kind of getting used to her new husband and this new family moving to the United States, and then another woman who is looking for her brother who is in the army. All of these stories, obviously, they all converge and they intertwine, and it is an absolutely amazing novel. I love this story. I am so excited for the next book in this companion series because Chanel Cleeton has become one of my favorite authors. I think this is an absolutely brilliantly written series so far, very historically accurate. If you guys are looking for something diverse, something that's going to kind of teach you about history from another country, this is definitely one that I recommend. The next book on my favorites list is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I feel like if Elizabeth Acevedo comes out with a book, it's going to land on my favorites list because she is an auto-buy author for me. This follows the story of 2 sisters who don't know their sisters. Their father kind of had these secret families, one in the Dominican Republic, one in the United States back in New York City. And when the father passes away in a plane crash, these families are informed of his passing, and that's when these 2 sisters kind of find out about each other, and it's their story kind of getting to know each other and kind of the repercussions of finding out about these dark secrets that her father used to keep. It's told in verse. Elizabeth Acevedo is an amazing poet, and this book obviously had to make one of my favorites this year. And the next book on this list of favorites so far in 2020 is Dealing in Dreams by Lilian Rivera. This is a YA dystopian, and before you say anything, it is not your typical YA dystopian. This is a world that is run by women. It's a very feminist story where there are these different gangs that are rivaling against each other. You have kind of the main kingpin who sells this drug called sueños or dreams, that kind of, make people feel better, kind of take people's minds away from the world that they're living in this kind of chaotic, very industrial type world. And this main villain kind of sells the idea of riches and luxury in this tower that she lives in. People obviously aspire to live in this tower with all of these rich people and the head of this new world, and these biker gangs are kind of all really battling it out to kind of win a spot within this tower. I absolutely loved this novel. If you guys have any kind of desire to read anything YA dystopian, I highly, highly recommend this one because it's not your typical YA dystopian. There's no romance in this one. I loved this one. The next book on my favorites list of 2020 so far was We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. This to me felt like a dystopian Jane Austen novel with a little bit of Handmaid's Tale mixed in there. I thought this was absolutely amazing. It follows kind of these women in a society where they need to be married off because it's the, thing to do for women. They don't really have any aspirations or any other things that they can do, so they have to either become the wives of these rich men, or they have to live in poverty for the rest of their lives. Men in the society usually are married off with two women, so one woman who's going to kind of take care of the household, take care of all of the business aspects of the home, keep the men's schedule and everything, and then you have the other woman who is going to bear the children and clean the house and take care of the children. So when our main character is sent to go live with someone and her kind of rival from the school that they were brought up in, the story takes off from there, obviously going to live with this new man, and then on top of the girl that she hated while she was in the school, kind of prepping her to become this wife in the society is not very easy for her to do. But then certain things happen within the home. They start to kind of become closer, these two women that kind of hate each other, and then there's this rebellion that's going on, trying to obviously destroy these things within the society. It can sound a little bit generic as far as the plot goes, but I felt like this was written very beautifully. I loved the tone, I loved the writing style, and I loved these characters and the romance aspect and everything within it, and this definitely had to land in one of my favorites of 2020 so far. And the last book on my list of favorites so far in 2020 was Beach Read by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is another auto-buy author for me. This is her first adult kind of contemporary romance that she's written. She usually writes YA, and this follows two authors who are kind of in a little bit of a writing slump or writer's block. And they kind of challenge each other to write in each other's genres. One of them writes romances, the other one writes literary fiction, so they kind of swap genres to kind of get their literary and writing juices flowing, and obviously a romance ensues, how it does in every single, I feel, rom-com or adult contemporary. And this was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful novel. With Emily Henry being her first kind of adult contemporary novel, I feel like she hit it right out of the park with this one. If you guys enjoy adult contemporaries or anything, I highly recommend this one. I feel like this was going to be on a lot of people's favorites lists of this year because I've heard nothing but amazing things by other people about this book, and I can see why this is an absolutely incredible novel. So yeah, guys, that is it for a little bit of a life update, kind of what's been going on, a little bit of my favorites that I've read this year. And yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to come back on a regular basis to YouTube and start posting more videos more frequently. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going to leave it at there. If you guys have anything to say, please comment down below. Let me know what you guys have been up to, what's been going on. I'm sorry if this video seemed a little bit kind of all over the place. I mean, I need to kind of fall into a routine again and get used to making videos again and get used to sitting here in front of the camera and kind of organizing my ideas a little bit more. But I just wanted to put something out there and kind of just let you guys know that I am still alive, I am still here, I'm still somewhat motivated to continue to make videos, and I'm just excited to be back in the community and be part of this community again because it's just a community that I loved to be in when I was. So yeah, I thank you guys all again for watching, for those of you who have actually watched this video, and I will see you all again very soon.